Hello all, I'm starting a new video series based on Algebra 1, which is taken in middle school or early high school, and it's just going to be a basics review of just the things that I think are most important to know for Algebra 1. And today's first lesson is going to be about linear functions. So basically a linear function is going to be, number one, an equation that makes a straight line when graphed, okay, hence linear. And the basic equation is usually written in the form y equals mx plus b. Okay, just simply put, this means that when this equation is graphed, there will be a number here where m is and a number where b is. Those are important, m and b. And when that's graphed, it makes a straight line. The two parts, m and b, are called slope and y-intercept, respectively. They both have an important part in making the straight line. So again, the equation for a linear function is y equals mx plus b. This is just the basic way it's written, and m will be a number. The slope, it will just be any number depending on what the situation is, and b will be another number, again depending on what the situation is. We'll get more into that, but those will be filled with numbers, and then you'll have a look, for example, like this: y equals, let's use 2x plus 1 for example. Okay, usually looks like this form, but the numbers will be filled in m and b. Slope here is 2 and y-intercept here is 1. Now those parts will come into play when the equation is graphed. Part 1, m, slope, will determine the steepness of the line. Okay, I'm going to write slope here again, and slope, and I'm going to put m will determine steepness. Okay, all your lines can look anywhere from really steep, somewhat steep, to flat-er, not really flat, but flatter, and to very close to being flat. Now it can also be an actual flat line too, if the slope is 0. Okay, these are the varying degrees of steepness based on whatever the slope is. The number will determine the steepness. Now, in addition to steepness, it also determines direction. So notice how I drew my lines from left to right going up. They can also go the other way, right to left going up. Again, varying in steepness. Very steep, somewhat steep, flatter, and then all the way to flat. Okay, so slope m determines steepness and direction. The other part, back here, y-intercept. Y-intercept will determine where this line goes through the where it goes through the y-axis. So usually a line is graphed on a coordinate plane, and it has a y-axis and an x-axis. Now the equation will create a straight line, and wherever that line goes through the y-axis, that is the y-intercept. Okay, so if we look at this example equation here, y equals 2x plus 1, the y-intercept b is 1. That means that this line, let's say this one is 2x plus 1, it will go through the y-axis at 1, or to be more specific, 0, 1. Okay, y-intercept where the line crosses the y-axis. This time, the example, it is 0, 1. Now, the y-intercept can change just like the slope can change. It can be different numbers, and slope determines steepness and direction. The y-intercept will just show where the starting point of the graph is. It can start down here, for example. It can start all the way up here based on what the y-intercept is, and various other examples that cross through different points on the y-axis. So just to cap off this quick lesson on linear functions, the main form linear functions are written in is y equals mx plus b. This is called slope-intercept form. It has two parts, m, which is the slope, and b, which is the y-intercept. Those will be filled in by numbers, m and b. M will determine steepness and direction. Y-intercept will determine where the line crosses the y-axis.